Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Peachy helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Peachy.
Welcome back, team. This is Joe Peachy of the Sales Edge, and we're excited. We're talking about a great topic today, and we're really excited. I believe this is podcast number 69, and so that's humbling, and it's really a tribute to you, our following, for people who are coming back and spreading the word, and we're getting in more and more foreign markets. Australia, thank you, and that's one of our biggest international markets. And so the Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy & Peachy, which is a speaking, coaching, training, consulting company that specializes in helping their clients get in front of their target market, whether it's small, medium, or large-sized companies that want to use tactical sales to get in front of their target market, or it could be speakers, trainers, and coaches that are looking to monetize their talent and intellectual property. And so as we move forward, a couple housekeeping things. You are more than welcome to call Joe at send Joe an email, joe at PICIandpici.com, with any suggestions, disagreements, things you'd like to hear about. We'd like you to feel free to call me at 407-947-2590 for a complimentary cup of Joe. Let's get to know each other, and maybe we can speak on something that you'd like us to talk about that is in our wheelhouse. Also, in a way of, I've said this in the past, but for you new listeners, I was ranked number 3 in the world by globalgurus.org last year. They had a glitch on their site. We would ask you to please, if you feel up to it, vote for me this year. Some people who tried to get on and they had a glitch, so go to globalgurus.org and please vote for Joe Peachy in the sales division, and I really thank you for that. So today, as we move forward, we're going to be talking about something I believe is very important to companies and individuals, but really from a standpoint of knowing where you are, and I call this measurement is vital. Measurement is the art of measuring. It's to quantify. It's to create calculation. It's to assign a number to a character of an object or an event. Okay? It's to see what the size and scope and number is. It's the amount. It's the approval. It's the evaluation. In a business term, or for you individually, it's really to find your quantifiable result. And as I get in and out of companies and work with individuals, I can tell you that more and more and more I'm seeing the value and helping more and more companies track what's measurable. Data is becoming incredibly important. So I'm going to give you some ideas of some of the benefits of really measuring your performance. We're going to talk about number one. It can increase the productivity of individuals and teams. When there are clear goals available, it becomes easier for individuals and teams to strive toward them. This is because there are specific standards and guidelines which are used to measure success. So creating a clarity, so to speak, helping your people and yourself know, what are we measuring here? What are we trying to hit here? What is the goal to getting this done? And making sure everyone is on the same page about how this is going to be measured. Number two, it can identify underperforming individuals and teams. With performance measurement process in place, it becomes possible to easily identify underperforming individuals and teams because their output can be directly compared to the output of others using the same chart. So now you have a platform whereby you're going to be able to evaluate who's underperforming. Is your company underperforming? Are we underperforming? Because we now have a measuring stick. It is so important. Number 3, it will improve communication. Accurate performance measurement metrics in place, managers, supervisors, and their direct reports have fewer places for miscommunication. In other words, every metric is specifically outlined with details, instructions that can lead people to success. So there's no confusion on what we should do, what they should do. So many times, lack of performance can be because proper performance measurement is not communicated well. People are not on the same plane. They're not on the same place, and so therefore there's miscommunication. There's lack of clarity. There's high confusion, and it's hard to measure that. So number 4, it provides the opportunity to recognize top performers. Many top performers go unrecognized because their output is just average into everyone else's performance. By establishing individual metrics, it becomes possible to find and recognize top performance on the team. This creates more chances for an organization to keep the best people. So many times everybody's thrown into the same vat. Numbers are thrown into the same measuring stick of team, but not individual. So you'll have your top performers with an average number because the lower performers are pulling them down. And that's not a good, healthy thing for performers. Performers want to perform, and there needs to be a measuring stick, a way to evaluate, measure these performances, and then you can recognize them. Let's go to number 5. It definitely helps to provide a clear chain of command by which, in a performance measurement scenario, everyone has their own role to play. They have their own duties to perform, and this eliminates the confusion which can occur sometimes within a team when some people feel like they should be in charge and assume part of the leadership role. Each person and team has defined space. And you really cannot promote, you cannot move people ahead if you don't have validation of great performance, and that's another reason why you want to measure. Now, some more benefits that come from this is performance expectations. Providing an employee or yourself with a specific set of duties and guidelines for performance creates indicators that allow both the employer and the employee the ability to evaluate job performance. For example, a receptionist may be told she needs to answer the phone in less than 3 rings. If she consistently answers within 1 ring, she exceeds her standards. If she consistently answers on the 4th ring, there's a failure to meet standards. That's how simple it is. But you have to have the metric. You have to have, absolutely, and I believe that metrics, and when you're measuring, the more you can have a quantifiable number that you attach it to, the better off you are, the higher chance you have of being able to measure. Now let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. The performance measurement process is a positive way to determine if employee excels, meets standards, or fails to meet standards in their job position. An employee who exceeds standards may be allowed to progress, receive a promotion, or even a raise. An employee who fails to meet standards after additional training may need to be replaced. So what happens if they do? What happens if they don't? And that's a question I ask my clients all the time. As I've been in and out of companies, and I go into companies and we get their sales process, we get their sales strategy, we get their sales skills in place. My next question is, so what happens if they do, and what happens if they don't? Do they bonus if they do, and do they get penalized, replaced if they don't? And you can only do those type of things if you're measuring. let's talk about data evaluation. And this is an area that I have really come to understand more and more. Businesses who use performance measurements find that data can be collected to show where its weaknesses and strengths lie. A division who employees perform poorly may need to be evaluated for additional training, may be clarification on duties, or may have supervisory difficulties. Evaluation may also help determine a need for consolidation, reduction of workforce, or a change in allocation of resources. Data. I have a couple clients that are becoming more and more data-driven, and they have not lost their ability to deal with people. They have not lost sight of the communication, but literally data doesn't lie. And so if a company is tracking certain things and it is involved in their software system, that anywhere in the country, anytime, they literally can pull it up and they can evaluate data on, are we performing up to our standards? Are we exceeding standards? Or are we below standards? Now, standardization is another benefit. If the performance measurement process is designed correctly, every employee with the same job title should be evaluated using the same criterion. For instance, all administrative assistants would have to be the same evaluation components for which they are judged, therefore reducing unfairness in hiring and firing. So if you're going to have a job description, you're going to have a position, make sure you're measuring everyone on the same standards, with the same set of rules, with the same measuring stick, with the same quantifiable results you're looking for. Let's not develop star power. Let's not develop a set of, extenuating circumstances. Now, I'm going to give you a few things that I've observed and actually helped with some companies, a few things that companies that I've been working with and also companies that I've studied are measuring. Number one, their lead response time. This is a sales metric. The number one key to success in today's sales environment is speed. The salesperson who delivers the most valuable information to the client or customer or prospect first usually wins the game. So when you're looking at your sales team or your own response time, do you have a metric? Do you have a way of really studying that and measuring that? Because this is one of the top things that sales teams are being evaluated on. Number two, sales metric number two for some companies is selling time. A successful sales team spends less time on repetitive support tasks and more time on actual selling. After all, this is what you're paid for. Observe the selling time of your team. Observe your own selling time, or have a log on daily tasks for your people. Then analyze what takes them away from their actual selling. What takes you away from selling? You can empower your sales team with tools that speed these up. So there are sales tools that will allow them to get those things done, but they need to be spending more time selling. And I will say, in the teams I coach, in the individuals I coach, sometimes sales takes a back seat to other areas. This is a key metric that we need to be evaluating in ourselves and in our teams. Here's another one. We call this the use of marketing materials metric. The gap lies in the use of these marketing materials. The American Marketing Association has found out that sales departments fail to use 90% of their marketing material content. This can translate to missed opportunities and sales funnel leakage. I sit down with people. I work with people. I can't tell you how many times in this most simplistic form They don't have a business card. They have no collateral material. They have no marketing material. Folks, we need to have everything in place, and these things can be measured. Number 4, what they call the sales metric opportunity win rate. You and I may call it closing ratio. You could have the greatest, fanciest, most dazzling sales rep, okay? They may draft the best proposals. They may work leads through the funnel, but they can't close a sale. This needs to be measured. This is one of the things at Peachy & Peachy we measure. Closing percentage. Now, in the future, I will be doing a podcast on what Peachy & Peachy measures. Every aspect, what we measure, how we measure it. But I have a few questions for you. And I'm going to give you a little time to think about it. What I'd like you to do is after you think about it and you answer it, I'd like you to send that in to me. If you don't want me to use your name, I won't. If you just want it to be anonymous, I'm doing a study on what people are measuring. So question number 1, in your business, in your career, in your profession, what do you measure? Take a minute with that. What do you measure? Question number 2, how do you measure it? What metric system, what software, what maybe whiteboard, written down, whatever, how do you measure those metrics? And my next question is, why do you measure? What benefit of you is it to measure? So I'm going to ask you if you would please answer those questions. Like I said, it can be anonymous. You can put your name. You can say, don't put my name. Answer those questions and email them to joe@peachyandpeachy.com, or just call me and say, Joe, here's what we're measuring here at our company, or here's what I measure. Do you have any suggestions? Now, this is part 1. Down the road, in fact, after the holidays, I'll be kicking off to you part 2, which will be a complete measuring that Peachy & Peachy does. You'll take out your phone and type in 55678, and in the message, put Sales Edge. Hit that. That'll take you to a link. Hit it. It'll take you to a landing page. There's some free downloads. There's also links to our podcast. Should you find this a quality tool for your business, can you like it? Can you share it? Can you make a comment? Our goal is to reach as many people as we can to help them explode their business, to give them that unfair advantage over their competition, to help them take their business to the next level. This has been Joe Peachy of The Sales Edge. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you at our next one.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy & Peachy Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.peachyandpeachy.com. Spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.